So the big day is finally here. A Switch revision is officially confirmed from Nintendo, but there is a lot of fan discussion online about what all this has to offer. And while we are getting a ton of handheld version upgrades, there's not a lot of upgrades when it comes to the dock support. So in today's video, I want to talk about all the tech specs that we know about this Switch. We now have official comments from Nintendo confirming it is the same CPU and RAM as the base model Switch and what that means for gameplay performance. And finally, I want to quickly cover how to pre-order this thing for people who are going to want to get it on the Wave 1 drop date. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. As I mentioned, guys, today is the big day, the official reveal of a Switch model revision, which was heavily rumored and heavily leaked by, what appeared to now be credible sources such as Bloomberg and Mochizuki himself. Now, what they did get wrong was the official release window of this, as they did claim that it would be coming to us before E3. And, that getting out there very well may have caused Nintendo to wait, because Nintendo does not like to do things on other people's terms. They always do it on their terms, and we had the big day where everybody was expecting them to drop the Switch, or the week rather, leading into E3, and there was no announcement, and it did appear to be less credible at that point, and a lot of people started to not believe these rumors and leaks that there was a revision coming. Now, what there has been reports about that apparently is not happening, and I want to tackle this first, is that this Switch revision, while it looks incredible, it has no bezel, now 7-inch OLED screen, and a bunch of other upgrades we'll talk through, it absolutely will not support 4K, as on Nintendo's website itself it does clearly state that even in docked mode it is up to 1080p performance. And I think that that is going to be the big thing from this that gets everyone talking, myself included, because while I do love all the handheld upgrades, I was absolutely expecting some kind of those NVIDIA DLSS rumors and all of the different chipsets, and then we had data miners finding code names like ALA for new chipsets. And so I really was expecting Nintendo to release some kind of a 4K revision with this, and it does have that $349 price tag, so that's going to get a lot of people talking online. And maybe this revision isn't for everybody, but I will tell you that I do think they gave us enough upgrades, especially if you are a handheld player, because the reality is if you're a dock player, you're not going to get much out of this upgrade other than just the Ethernet port availability in the docked system. But if you are a handheld player, you're getting things like the OLED screen upgrade, which is the biggest thing. We can't even see how great it's going to actually look through the video, because you're watching a camera filming somebody playing a handheld title through YouTube screen or whatever screen quality you have, and you know what, it's not going to look like it will in person. But I will tell you guys my own personal experience: when you go from LCD displays to OLED displays, it is a massive upgrade. So that's going to be the first major takeaway, is that we get a larger display to play on in handheld mode, and we also get way more vibrant colors, way deeper blacks, and way brighter whites, and it's going to really show in a lot of these games from Nintendo. And then from there you have things like an internal storage upgrade, which is big for both docked and handheld players, as we do get 64 gigs, which still isn't game breaking or revolutionary in 2021. You definitely are going to need more than that, and so the SD cards will continue to be supported and sold alongside the Switch revision model. But that's something else to keep in mind, that you do get extra storage with this higher price point. And then from there you have a kickstand that actually works, which is a big deal for me, because that was, I think, a lot of the reason I didn't play it in tabletop mode very frequently, is you really had to prop it up on something different, because it would fall over half the time, for me at least, with that base kickstand, and then it would even start to get weak over the time, and I've had to replace it on my original Switch. So it was something that I was never really a fan of, and I'm glad to see that we now have a fully foldable adjustable kickstand, which is very Microsoft Surface style, as the leaks actually did report on. So that was 100% accurate, and you can fold it down to a very flat level from the looks of it on the trailer, and then you can even have it propped up almost facing directly at you. And with the kickstand now taking up the entire back of the Switch, there will be no more wobbliness or accidental falls. It does appear that it's going to be way more stable. You also get enhanced audio in handheld mode, which is nice, because if you don't have a pair of headphones, and maybe hopefully Nintendo will include Bluetooth audio support for headphones in this Switch revision, that remains to be seen. But there were a lot of data miners and people who were looking into firmware saying that that Nintendo's getting ready to enable the Bluetooth technology for headphones. But let's say we don't get that and you're just in a scenario where you can't use headphones or you don't have headphones on you, you are going to get what appears to be a good audio upgrade with the Switch Revision. And then you also have the same battery life with really no changes there. And the big surprise, as I said, guys, for me on this whole console, because it looked incredible and I was super hyped watching the trailer, and then as I started to see all of everything being talked about online, surprise, surprise, there's no mention of 4K anywhere. DLSS technology is not there. It does appear that this is the exact same chipset, and in fact, Tom Warren from The Verge actually tweeted out an official statement saying that Nintendo has confirmed that this is the same CPU and RAM, the same amount from the first model Switch. So we are not going to see the gameplay enhancements or the third-party titles that are exclusive to this. This is not new Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch Pro, really. This is exactly what Nintendo calls it, which is Switch OLED model, which just means that it's the same exact Switch with a better OLED screen and then some minor adjustments that make it a little bit more of a pro level console. But you do have to keep in mind that we're going up $50 in price point, and you're getting more storage for that, and you're getting obviously a way better display for handheld mode. But I do want to know from you guys if the upgrades that Nintendo revealed for this Switch Revision is worth it for you. If you're already a Switch owner, if you're going to be picking this up, I would imagine if you're not a Switch owner, you will for sure wait for this one to come out on October 8th. But if you are a Switch owner, I want to know if there was enough in this trailer or enough from these announcements that actually will drive you to buy a new console, as I will be picking it up. But I do want to get kind of a poll from everybody, and I'll even put one out on the community tab on if you will be picking this up, and if you're, the upgrades are meaningful enough for you to go spend the additional $350 to get this new console. And then one thing that makes me very happy about the release date itself, which is October 8th, is that this comes out alongside Metroid Dread. And if you would have told me a few months back that Nintendo was going to release their new hardware revision alongside a classic 2D or 2.5D style Metroid game, I would have told you were crazy and there was no way that was happening. And so to my surprise, this is coming out on the date that Metroid Dread does. So obviously Nintendo's putting some huge focus behind Metroid as a franchise, and I think that's super cool that that will be the hardware system seller, or at least people who are going to go in to purchase this in a store, they're probably going to pick out the new game that just launched that same day, which is Dread. So I do think we're going to see some huge sales from Metroid, and that is super exciting to me. But if you are somebody who wants to pick this up day one, I do want to briefly cover a couple tips and strategies that I want to make you guys aware of now, because here's what's going to happen when the Switch Pro or Switch OLED model pre-orders go live. Rather, it's going to sell out immediately. It's going to be scalped. We are still in a chip shortage type of situation in this 2021 environment in the middle of the year right now. I mean, literally the PS5 and Series X have been out for over 6 months, over 7 or 8 months actually, and nobody can find them easily. You can't walk into a store and purchase it. You have to pre-order it online, and that is a big deal, because I think the exact same thing is going to happen with this Switch Revision, because I do think there's enough fans out there that are going to clear out initial stock. So if you are in that boat and you want to try to get this thing day one, you are going to need to do a couple things that we're going to talk about. The first and most important is to create a Twitter account and have notifications on your mobile device. So you could be anywhere working, out and about. You need to have mobile notifications on Twitter, because it's going to drop randomly from retailers. Very, very rarely do we get official communication from like a Best Buy or Walmart saying like, oh, we're going to have the Switch Revision model go live at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. Like that typically does not happen. So I wouldn't expect it to happen here. All the retailers are going to randomly drop this thing available for pre-order. It could be any time. At the time of filming this video, I have not seen any pre-orders go live, but I will tell you guys that it is going to be totally random, and you can absolutely expect it to drop just surprise from these retailers. So what you have to do is have a Twitter account, notifications on. The main account that I recommend for all things kind of retail stock and new pre-order links is Wario64, as that guy does not sleep, and somehow he is always tweeting out the links as they go live. There are various other accounts you can follow on Twitter if you want to be safe. Don't just put it all up to Wario, but he is very good at tweeting out live pre-order links the minute that they go live, and I will link his Twitter down below. And then there's various little like retail bot type of things that you guys can research on your own as well. Maybe see what other people are having success with tracking down like these PS5 and Xbox Series X consoles. And then I will also recommend you guys Jake Randall's channel, who does a great job of how to actually get through the craziness of the actual pre-order process on a lot of these specific specific websites such as your Targets, Best Buys, Walmart, as he has a bunch of good step-by-step guides that do outline the exact tips to do when these things do launch. Because what happens to most people is that the button is there and then all of a sudden it says, you know, please wait or refresh, or, you know, you're trying to get it into your cart and check out, and just because of the overall traffic, you can't actually get the transaction to go through. So there's a bunch of different tips that you can kind of do and take from his channel if it's something that you're really serious about getting day one, because I'm guaranteeing you guys it's a October release. We will see this thing scalped all the way through the holiday season and then some, as there's even, you know, a number of comments on my videos talking about this, stating that people were waiting to buy a Switch for the first time, or waiting to, you know, maybe they only had a Switch Lite and they want to get one with the dock, but they wanted to wait until this revision is out. And then you're going to have people like me who are just hardcore Nintendo fans that are going to spend this $350 regardless and get the new model, so we get the upgrades in handheld mode. And you know what, that's going to happen, and there's going to be a ton of movement around this console. So make sure you do those couple things if you are trying to pick it up on day one. But at this point in the video, guys, I want to know all your thoughts on everything that we saw revealed from Nintendo today. So please leave me a comment down below with if you were planning on picking this up or not, if you're going to try to get it on day one and do some of these pre-order tips we talked about, or if you're just going to wait it out and see if Nintendo maybe has some kind of 4K DLSS down the line, maybe like a next year. I don't think they're going to do it immediately with this new revision actually being out now, or being out in October. So I do think if you're waiting on 4K, you may be waiting for a while. But leave all your thoughts and feelings with me in the comments, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around this topic. And then quickly hop over to the community tab on the channel before you leave the video and vote in the poll, where I will be asking you guys if you're planning on picking up the Switch Pro revision or not. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.